But first thing is first, as always, we've got the dollar. So USD looking pretty bearish this morning. Of course, we did have CPI yesterday, and that did result in some weakness for USD. As we can see, it happened around there with this 4-hour candle. And looks like we're heading back to the lows here at 98, more or less. So looks like that overall trend is just continuing, which is what we were speaking on throughout the week pretty much. In terms of this bearish trend just basically continuing. There's no signs of reversal. So naturally, I would just expect price to get back to the lows. And it looks like that is exactly what price is doing. We're only a small distance away. So I think probably by the end of today, or at least by the end of this week, we probably will be seeing some new lows. I was hoping we could see a pullback first before we do have this sell-off, because price was, in fairness, respecting support pretty well. We had quite a lot of rejection here, massive wick the other week as well. So I was kind of hoping we push to the upside, maybe take out some of the highs here, come into some fresh territory, then have that sell-off. But it looks like we're just kind of just falling to the downside. So not much I can do with that, because the pullback is not big enough for me to look for entries myself. Maybe intraday there could have been some opportunities there, but from a swing perspective, not much of a pullback to get involved there. So now my take with the dollar is just see what we do at the lows, because I still do think a bigger pullback is on the cards for USD. I'm looking at the overall picture here, and we have been falling for quite a while. Of course, we've taken out some major support to our left over here. So I do think sooner or later we will see a recovery. I mean, I think it will probably just be a bigger pullback, not necessarily a reversal. So I do expect some upside at some point. But we'll of course see what price does at these lows, whether we break them well or we become corrective. Those are the key things I'll be taking note of. But yeah, price is still pretty bearish. That might be a last minute opportunity on the retest of that level. If the market would be kind enough to pull back, there could be some nice shorts intraday there. But nonetheless, it looks like we're going to continue to fall. EURUSD pretty much the exact opposite of that, of course, looking like it's about to take up the highs there at 1.157. Consistent higher highs and higher lows. We have been pretty corrective as well for Euro, so I've been looking for a bit of a pullback before we do continue. I was talking a lot about this level here. I said as long as price stays above this low, I remain bullish. Price was fading at the highs there a little bit, looking a little bit tiresome. So I was hoping we could have that bigger correction back into support and then see the follow through. But of course, in hindsight, we can see that Euro was just waiting for CPI pretty much. That was the catalyst to get things moving, because the markets were looking pretty dead yesterday. Not even just yesterday, throughout the week and last week as well. We've been pretty flat for some time now with USD. So we're waiting for that catalyst. Looks like it was CPI to get the ball rolling. And now it looks like we're about to take up the highs. But same situation as the dollar. Despite price being bullish, I do think roughly when we do take up these highs, there could be a nice sell-off to take advantage of, going a bit counter trend. But we'll discuss more of that when it's actually shaping up. Right now the market is bullish. There might be again a last minute opportunity if we were to pull back and take some trades off the back of that. But it's up to Euro if it wants to pull back, of course. But yeah, more upside, likely to take up the highs and probably push into 1.16. Pound USD, this one not as bullish as Euro. Looks like Euro is far more bullish than pound at the moment. I'm looking at, we'll take a look at Euro pound later on, but I had a quick look at Euro pound before coming into the stream, and that was looking very, very bullish. So there's a big discrepancy between Euro and pound right now. And you can see that in the price action. Euros broke to the upside, trending well. Pound pretty much still within this range here. I think there could be a nice breakout opportunity with pound USD if we were to clear resistance here, because it has held pretty well once and twice, and so far a third time. So I do think if price can break through this level well, there might be some nice retests, just again continue the trend to the upside. So 1.37, next big psychological level. I think that could make for a good target. But yeah, pound for the most part still pretty sideways. I mean, the overall trend is still up. So yeah, that's still the bias for the pair. I was kind of hoping we were to push down into support this week, Again, got about 3/4 of the way there before turning around, so not quite testing that support level. But if we are going to continue bullish, we should be breaking resistance here, and then we can discuss some pullback and some retest opportunities. Take it back into the highs, and again, probably a lot further than that as well. Dollar CAD, I'm still getting ready for the buys. Again, not quite there yet. Market's still looking pretty bearish. We just looked at USD, the DXY. DXY still looks like it's in free fall. So if the dollar's still falling, it's going to be quite difficult to buy dollar CAD. But like I said, I do think DXY is just pushing back to lows to potentially see some upside soonish. So once that kind of comes to fruition, hopefully dollar CAD will set up as well. So dollar CAD's one to keep an eye on in terms of the buys. Not quite ready yet. Momentum is still with the bears, but we are coming back into a pretty big area of kind of demand on the daily chart, daily weekly chart. Massive move to the upside. We're just about to come into that zone now as well. And you can see for the most part, price is looking pretty corrective as well in this kind of wedge pattern, if you will. So I do think we're kind of squeezing, getting ready for a move higher. So that's kind of where my bias is now with dollar CAD. Not so interested with the sells. I know the market is bearish. We're still forming lower lows and lower highs. So don't get me wrong, the trajectory of the market is still down, but we're coming to an areas where I do think we can at least bounce. Again, I'm not necessarily favoring a reversal. It might just be a bounce for us to form a lower high and come back down again. But that bounce is what I'm looking to trade. And then maybe I can trade the next wave on the way down again. So, I mean, that's speaking way into the future. But for now, still interested in the longs. But as I said, not quite ready yet. Just have to keep monitoring price and keep a lookout for some entries. Aussie dollar, I'm still looking for a push down. Still a little bit flat for me. I was contemplating some entries off the back of, it's actually off the back of CPI. We had this push to the upside and price fell at the high. So I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Because price has been so sideways for the past few days. Then we had this bullish move. And of course, Euro was looking pretty bullish. Mainly Euro. Dollar CHF was pushing down as well. So it looked like USD weakness was coming in. So I was expecting Aussie dollar just to break the highs, but it didn't. It wicked through, pulled back, and closed bearish on the second bearish candle afterwards. So it was some nice rejection, but for the most part, was still kind of within the range. So it didn't do quite enough to justify an entry, but for the most part, I am still looking to short Aussie dollar, just biding my time, waiting for a good entry to form. I'm looking at the higher time frames. Market still looks very tight for me. I do think we can have a bit of a retracement, but not quite there yet. Again, I've spoken about this ascending channel. We still might push to the upper end of the channel as well before selling off. We've kind of got, one test over there, second more or less over there. We might see a third before we do push down. I wonder with the wicks we formed this morning, do we see a rally with this? And then do we get the sell later on? I think that looks like a nice opportunity if that was to present. But in terms of an opportunity right now, I'm not seeing anything really for Aussie dollar. Very, very choppy pair. I would just avoid doing much business in that area. Wait for us to push the extremes, whether at the lows or at the highs. I think we might find some better opportunities there and some better risk reward opportunities as well. For the most part, still very, very sideways. I'm not seeing much here. I think that's the best we can see right now for Aussie. In the middle, it's just very, very chaotic. In terms of New Zealand dollar, same sort of situation. Looks like we're still just about holding on to this ascending channel here. Market had a bit of a wick to the downside this morning. Also looks like prior resistance is still being respected as support. So you got resistance once, twice, a third time. Then we're breaking above, breaking below. So price hasn't really been respecting it too well. But then this morning, we fired a few wicks to the downside. And it looks like it's still being respected as support. So I do think we can see a bit of a move to the upside here. At least back into resistance. They're not a big one, to be honest. But again, I'm not really looking to trade that. I spoke last week about the big break and retest, even the week before. But it's just been so corrective. And again, as a swing trader, looking to follow momentum like this is not really what I want to do. If anything, shorts look better. Like I said, I'll probably still wait for the break of the channel here. But I'm just not really interested in buying NZD/USD. I know dollar's weak right now. NZD is a bit weak as well. And I still think we can see a bit of a rally. But That's the best I've got right now for USD. So I'm looking to buy this. I need price to kind of break out lower, maybe form a higher low, and then talk about some buys. At these prices, I think I'll just wait for the market to develop. I'm already seeing a good opportunity there. In terms of gold, gold steadily pushing to the upside. It was being corrected for the most part. I was talking about some selling opportunities from this level. And we did, in fairness, see a bit of a sell-off. The market did a good job at faking people out. I did say watch out for that, to be honest, especially with CPI yesterday afternoon, because I believe we were trading around here. I said price still might, wick to the highs, and then we might see a sell-off, which we did. Very aggressive move, and that's why it's always tricky in the lower time frames. Trading with CPI, NFP, Fed interest rate, is that these moves can just knock you out your position. Even if you're in the right direction, you can get knocked out your position before seeing the move. And price did a good job of doing that, and then we actually saw a nice sell-off. Didn't have a massive one. We at least came back to test support here. Didn't quite come into any of these lows, but support here held. Massive reaction, and we've been looking pretty bullish since then. So with gold, as I said, I'm still bullish on the pair. I'm just waiting for a good opportunity to buy it. As I've been saying since the start of the week, looking for price to break the high here at 33.87. And then I'll be interested for the longs. At that point, this bullish structure is still alive and well. This will be a new higher low, and then we'll see a new higher high. And that will give me the confidence to say, okay, the trend is still alive. Now I'm looking for the next higher low. The channel break is still in play. We broke out the channel, and the market's still trending to the upside, and we still got a good chance of pushing back to 3,500. So that's still where I'm at with gold. We're slowly picking up the pace to the upside. Let's see if that does continue. A break of the high then allows me to look for some retests for some longs. And then if I take a look at silver, a bit of a sell-off this morning, and again, that's kind of what I want to see, to be honest, because it's going to give me the opportunity. Actually, let me draw it from the daily high here. It's going to give me the opportunity to actually get into a position, because silver's been so bullish, kind of left me in the dust a little bit. If I'm going to find a trade, I do need to see price action that does take us back to these lows. And we are looking a tad bearish now. We are forming some lower highs in the lower time frames. Hopefully that does continue, and we get a solid retest of around 34.76, because that will allow me to find some entries, swing it back into the high, and see how far we can take it from there. Because of course silver, very bullish on the pair on the higher time frames. I think there's a lot of room to the upside. I've spoken about my next big target being 40, which is way up there. So in my book, there is a lot more upside to be taken advantage of for silver. It's just about timing and finding a good area for an entry. And so far, this is one. Just waiting to see if price can get there.